Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Sit Down. I'm Reverend Phil Dieke, one of the pastors on staff here at White Rock United Methodist Church. We're recording down here in the studio 1B, we call it, here in the basement of White Rock, and we love this setup. It's been a really cool opportunity for us to bring in people and to pipe people in just a different setting. So we're grateful for this chance to be here, and we're grateful that you've taken the time this morning to join us for the Sunday Sit Down. We do this conversation on Sundays kind of as a warm-up for worship and just an opportunity to have a conversation, typically with somebody from the community, sometimes somebody outside the community, but today it's specifically somebody in our community who lives right next door.
Yeah.
So Kam De Leon is here with us. You've heard De Leon a whole lot lately because last week whenever we had all the devastation of the power outages and everything, De Leon Provisions stepped up and came through for us. How many meals did you all serve last week at the convention center?
2,800.
2,800 in over 5 days, is that right?
Over the course of 5 days, that's right.
My gosh. Yeah, so we mentioned last week we raised over $35,000, which is incredible. And I think Mitchell was the one that just reached out to you and said, hey, Mitchell said, I might have overcommitted us.
He does.
Which he tends to do sometimes. But that's good because the cool thing is the community steps up often, and you guys are a big part of that. So, tell us a little bit about what that was like to step in and be able to do that.
Yeah, so Mitchell called on Saturday morning. So this is before the snowfall, but it was already getting cold, and said, hey, can you guys feed 200 people tonight? Yep. And we are very much like White Rock, because where we say yes a lot, and then we figure it out later. Yeah. And so we said, yeah, sure. And so we were able to do that. And then over the next couple of days, almost daily, Mitchell would increase the number. So he'd say, we now need 250. And then by lunch would be up to 350. And then eventually we got to the point where we said, we know that we could do 400 per meal. Yeah. And that's where we max capped that out. And man, we just kept that food rolling. The thing too is that we did 3 of 4 of those days without electricity. Which is just crazy. Yeah. So, it was fine. We just did it by flashlight, and we did it in the dark, and Terry and I did it, and we just powered through, and we were so happy to be able to do it. And I'll say this, that I love when a call for donation happens, and then that money is almost immediately sent. Yeah. It's spent, it's in the community, it was given, and it was received within 12
day
hours.
Of, right? Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. So it was great.
Well, on behalf of the whole church and the community, thank you so much for what y'all did. I know it was just exhausting. And when you walked in earlier, I said, I hope you got a little bit of rest after last week.
We did, right? We knew we had committed to Wednesday and that then we could have a snow day.
Good. So, I'm glad you did. Okay, so you also wear many hats, right? So you do the catering, which is great. Yep. You also oversee our community garden here at White Rock.
Yes.
So for people who don't know the history of the community garden, you want to give us just a little rundown on what the history has been of that community garden?
Sure. So the garden, I'm going to say it's probably been 7 or 8 years now that the garden was formed, and it's grown over time, and it's changed form, and the way it looks right now happened about 4 years ago. And at that time, I was on staff here at White Rock, and so I took that on as one of my special babies, and I didn't let it go. When I left a year and a half ago, I kept the garden. And so the way our garden works here is that there are 25 plots, and they're all individually maintained, and people pay a yearly fee. It's $120 for the year. Yep. And then they can then do what they want with. They can grow whatever, and then that food is theirs for themselves or to give away. So that's how our model works. And then we also have the chickens, and the chickens are tended. We call them our chicken tenders. Right?
That's amazing.
That's great, right? And then we do those in 2-week shifts. So if you sign up for your shift to tend the chickens, then you make sure that they have food and water and are cared for those 2 weeks, and then you collect the eggs for that time.
Gotcha.
So some people just do the gardening, and some people just do the chickens. And mostly our gardeners are not members of White Rock, but they are a part of our community.
Sure.
But it's pretty great because we get to see, it's one of the ways that our outreach really reaches into the community.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got a plot this year.
Yeah.
I'm really excited because I have never had a garden. And so I really thought about trying to do it in our backyard. And I thought that's going to be a whole lot of work. I could just go to White Rock and do it instead. Cause it's all prepped, right? Like the soil's there, all the things are there. So it's really that easy, right? People can just buy a plot, show up whatever seeds they want to put in the ground and go for it, right?
Exactly.
I love that.
I do too. You know, Neil Mosley had said one time, he was like, you know, it's the easiest thing, right? It's just like 30 cents worth of seeds and you do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take that much. Our garden has a real nice mix of very experienced gardeners and new gardeners, and we're a community and we help each other. The truth about gardening is that you can be really experienced and you may not succeed.
Sure.
Right? Gardening is you just kind of, you can't guarantee the outcome of your garden no matter how hard you try. Right?
Kim, that's biblical. That's biblical right there. The parable of the sower. That's a very biblical statement right there. Which is funny, right? Because one of the things I said, I want to talk about kind of a spirituality of gardening, and I'm happy to do more of that talking, because as much as I've always wanted to get in gardening, I never have. Like, I do think there is something about the soil and in Lent, we've invited people to plant something in the seeds and recognize that it takes a seed dying for something to sprout forth. And there's just something kind of holy and sacred about getting back to Mother Earth and getting our hands dirty there and tending that soil. And so if you, like me, are still failing to plant your seeds in the ground in my pot like I haven't done, but I'm going to do eventually, there's another opportunity here, right? Like, come and get a plot here. And there's a link. We'll post a link here that you can get a plot. You can go right here now and sign up. $120, have your plot, and just be ready to go in and plant. It's now, right? Now's the time to start planting, isn't it?
Really soon.
Really soon? Okay.
Really soon.
In the next couple weeks?
2 weeks we'll be fully gardening for the spring.
Which means I have to get my stuff together so that I know what I'm planting. But no, if you even just search, I actually did it a little bit ago, like the spirituality of gardening, there's a ton of things on there that there really is a whole tradition and history around this idea of getting back to the roots of who we are, getting back to the soil. So I love that. I think there's a really cool practice in that. And I hope that as a community, as a church, you will engage in that and get yourself a plot and come and be a part of this community. And like you said, it's beyond our members. So I love that that's a really cool part of it.
I want to just talk a bit about the community aspect of our garden, because the way it's built, it is such a wonderful place to just spend time. And there's, it's one of those places where when everything shut down last year and kids were home and you weren't going to be able to go to the Arboretum and places that people would like traditionally spend their nature time, we saw a huge increase in the amount of people just coming through the garden and the amount of kids and parents who spent lots and lots of hours there. And so I think it's just such a special place in the neighborhood. And again, whether you attend White Rock or you don't, you know, the garden is really pivotal part of the neighborhood.
Well, what I'm preaching on today too is the Garden of Gethsemane, and it's a really interesting history of why Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane where he was arrested then. So there's something about gardens. It's just kind of a invitational space, and I love that. I love that. As much as I love the Arboretum and like botanical gardens, those are really great places to go and visit things. But like, there's something so open about our garden here. It's a great piece of East Dallas.
It is really great. And it's ADA accessible, and it was built intentionally like that. So, you know, whether that's a wheelchair or it's strollers, it's just super easy just to swing by. Okay,
so if you aren't ready to invest in a plot, we have a couple work days. You can come up and just kind of get a sense of the garden, right?
Yep.
So we're going to do in March and April a couple work days. You want to talk about those?
Sure. We're going to do the second Tuesdays. I don't know.
I mean, whatever. It's fine.
Second Saturdays and in the mornings, and then we're going to do third Sundays in the afternoons, and Phil will get you all the dates and the details. But like right now, everything is dead. Like, we lost everything, so it'll be a lot of cleaning up. Right. It'll be a lot of coffee and chatting.
Love that.
It'll be some turning that soil over, getting it ready for that next season. Yeah. We're going to do a little bit of repair work on some of the beds. There's just, really any age, any ability, there's going to be something to do, and just get things kind of spruced up out there.
Come and play in the dirt. I'll say it now. It's second Saturdays 10 to 12, third Sundays 2 to 4. We'll send that out in the emails as well, just so you guys have that written down too. But come and do that. Come play in the soil. Come get it ready. And again, if you want to buy a plot, great. If not, just come play and bring
the kids.
Bring the kids.
Yeah, the playground's right there. It's a really great place to have your kids doing one thing and you doing another, and everybody just kind of being together.
Yep.
Yeah.
bring your masks. Probably a good idea still too, right?
Yeah.
Just in case.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
in case,
yeah.
bring that mask.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from a garden comes the fruit of the garden, right? And so one of the other wonderful things that we're doing now too, I'm gonna say really it's what you guys have been working with over at Owenwood.
Yeah, Owenwood, yeah.
Is the People's Fridge.
So if you don't know about the People's Fridge, it is a mutual aid, right? It's not that's their model is like you give and you take, and everybody's is welcome to do that. It's free food. It is, so some of that's shelf stable. It's like, beans and rice, but there's an actual refrigerator. So then it can be cold food, and it can be milk and yogurt and things. So we as a company have partnered with De Leon Provisions and Owenwood and the People's Fridge that when we deliver meals, then we ask people to leave things on their porch, then we pick it up, and then we every Friday go restock the fridge. So today's our first day to do the stock
Love it.
of it. I know, it's really great, and we're excited. We've had a really good response, like loads and loads of stuff that we're picking up from people's porches, and we're really looking forward to it. So soon we're going to be working with Owenwood to do a give back where a portion of our sales will go towards funding the People's Fridge.
That's
So
awesome.
We'll be getting details about that out.
I think
soon.
you can find the People's Fridge on Instagram if you're an Instagrammer. I think it's the People's Fridge Dallas maybe is what you can search. And I mean, they post about Owenwood all the time because I think they have 4 or 5 around Dallas. And it's just a really cool opportunity to give back and again, be invested in our East Dallas community. Why food? Why is it that you got involved in food?
First of all, Terry and I met waiting tables.
Okay.
And so that's always been a part of who we are. But I'm an Enneagram 3,
Okay.
wing 2, strong 2. Terry's a 2, wing 1.
Okay.
So like we've got this whole quadrant up there locked up
Love
on
it.
hospitality.
Love
and
it.
it's just truly who we are, like the core of who we are. So as we've built this business over time, like it's about hospitality for us in so many ways, and we love the idea of taking care of people. And just the last week when we were able to step in when Mitchell called to help, it's when you can really find your time and your talents and really apply those where they're needed. Like there's really nothing better than that. I've just been really lucky that Terry and I have been able to do it as a couple, as a family, and really bring our kids into that experience of how do you help your community in which ways. And so food for us is really more about hospitality.
I love it.
Yeah, we do too. It's been pretty great.
Cam, thank you for all that you do in this community with again, what happened last week, but also what happens every year with the garden. And now with the People's Fridge, like it's just you play such an essential part of this community of the church, but so far beyond the church too. And so we're grateful for your presence here and all that you do for us.
Thank you.
So,
that's really sweet.
Yeah.
We love everything that's good. So much of what's good in our lives comes from this church and from this community.
I love it.
It's great.
I love it.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you're going to be here a whole lot because the garden's ready to roll. Yeah, I
You'll
love it.
see me in the garden.
So come by
all the time.
and see Cam, and I'm going to be up there too, get my hands dirty. So we do hope that you'll come and join the garden and be a part of that and be a part of the People's Fridge as well. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes with worship. So thanks so much for joining us today, y'all. We'll see you shortly.